What's up? Oh, there's plenty of hay. There's plenty of hay over there, too. You're not eating all of this. It's not my fault. I'm giving you stuff.
So I wanted to start out this video by that interaction because up until this point, Henry had talked to me in regards to me giving her grain or throwing hay, normal, what I would consider normal vocal behavior about food. This is when she starts really actively talking. And I probably have it on video a good bit, and sometimes, some days it's more than others, but she is the noisiest horse I have ever encountered. Obviously, I've not met every single horse in the world and everything. My domestic, she will kind of just very softly about grain occasionally, not a lot. My sister's Percheron, I don't think I've ever heard that horse speak. It's just, I knew one mare at the boarding barn that when her owner would call her, she'd scream and come across the field. And, it's one of those things that you're just that was the coolest thing ever. But Henry is very vocal, just conversationally. We'll just chit chat all the time. And it's just a really interesting experience. I don't know why she's like that. Anyway, if you were watching while I was rambling, you've noticed that she's pretty overstimulated with the trotting, with the, not aggressiveness, but just over eagerness in regards to the bucket. And I pressed. So, which I feel a lot of this is just me back and forth about, this is what I did wrong. And so I kind of asked, she didn't give an indication. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And she was like, no, absolutely not. So this is me saying, okay, I will give her a moment. She kind of adjusted her stance. So this is me kind of saying, was that in favor of doing stuff or not? And it's just, again, you have to reinforce behaviors in the sense of you redo them. You keep doing them because you want to make sure it becomes standard. So me going back to asking and then approaching, just because we've done it multiple times doesn't mean she's good with it. I mean, this is with any behavior. You're not going to get the flying lead change on the first try and then they're going to magically be able to do it every single time. You have to reinforce it, redo it, practice. So that's kind of where we're at now, of the sense of practicing. Okay, so there has been a time jump between the previous video that I posted and then this one. If you watch that, you can remember that I said my sister was going out for a couple days and I knew that I needed to go into protective contact because of the mistakes that I made in the previous video. So there is a bit of time between. We've worked on protective contact. This is my first time kind of going back into engaging with her. Obviously I go and clean her pen, I give her hay and stuff like that, but I'm not working with her. So this is where I'm okay, she's not engaged. I'm not sure how she feels. She was overstimulated and stuff. So I go ahead and get the dressage whip just in case, because again, this is my first time back and I'm not sure. And then it's just going to be a lot of the behavior before, where I'm letting her engage. But if you're watching, you know what I'm going to say. She's asking for food. She is really wanting to do the reward system with food. She's kind of asking me in a way. I think when she's looking at the bucket, obviously a bucket's a bucket and she's going to investigate it. But I think with her going back to the bucket, she's like, hey, there's kind of nothing here. I would like that. So you can see, I think, the general lack of engagement with this process. Obviously, this is a pressure release situation. This is okay. It's fine. She seems good. I'm using some choice and consent in the sense of letting her be okay with me doing stuff, but she's not engaged. She's not. So I'm you know what? I don't want to do this because she's not into it, and that's fine. So I'm going to go back to what we were doing previously, protective contact. So what I actually did was I taught her to face the same direction that I do, and we just match our shoulders up against each other. I would caution against this in a way. It does kind of come back later to bite me, where she continuously tries to just stand shoulder to shoulder with me, but you just reshape the behavior. It's not a big deal. But that's one thing I did really work on. And then the other thing was fly spray. So I had a bottle that actually just has water in it because I don't want to waste fly spray because that stuff's expensive. And it's just getting her used to all of the sounds, the like water spraying. I'm having her target it as well. And then I go to targeting my hand. So you can see there is a big change from my previous video with the hand. We're getting a lot better because I've worked in protective contact. I think it makes her feel less anxious. She is also getting rewarded. I'm rewarding her behavior. I'm not just pressure releasing. Like, she took to positive reinforcement so well, and like looking at these videos and revisiting this, I really kind of wish I had done it sooner, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. We got onto it, but she's like super into it. So this is me touching her ears. I'm just trying to touch and reward anything that makes her uncomfortable, and I'm saying, hey, it's okay. And then my sister comes over, and I think I'm like, hey, watch what she can do. Look, I can touch her ear. It's crazy. And she's trying to take a picture, but Henry doesn't actually like my sister very much, which is really funny because my domestic doesn't actually like my sister either. Like, she tolerates her, but my sister keeps saying, like, I bought the same horse, it's just pony-sized, and I think that's fairly accurate. So this is us laughing about the photos that she took, and Henry's like, I'm still playing. Hello? Guys, I want to keep going. Okay, cool. I think the sun's in my face, so I keep having to move. Oh, this is me trying to be like, look what she can do. So then, because we seem to have calmed down, and I'm also liking her engagement with the positive reinforcement, I go ahead and get back in. Also, my sister is there for supervision, a little bit better. I'm having her target the metal curry because I know she's a little bit hesitant about my hand, so I'm trying to be better about not pushing her boundaries as much as I previously have. And then I go ahead and kind of move my position just to, again, it's the whole concept of mirroring and kind of just, if it's new, but it's still the same old stuff we've been doing. You're just targeting. So it's not anything scary once we get to it. And then this is me going, okay, I'm just going to touch her with the curry comb. And I'm going to reward her when I touch her because this is kind of an extension of my hand. And I'm not using pressure release. I'm using positive reinforcement to do this. To compare the first minute of this video, and then now it's kind of mind-boggling because she is so into it. She's really engaged, obviously, because there is a food reward, and that's okay. Like, I go to my job to get paid. I love my job, but I wouldn't go if I wasn't getting paid, you know? So I think you always have to have a treat. I personally have done a couple of things without treats just because of whatever reason, but I'm also okay with having treats. Like, it's not a big deal to me. Again, I like getting paid for my job, so I understand she's getting paid to do stuff. She is getting paid to deal with me is really what it comes down to. This is her job now, and I have to reward her for her job. And again, I'm not a professional. I'm not a trainer. There are different levels of overstimulation and threshold and just engagement that you do have to consider. This is me ending the session. I give her a jackpot. So I basically empty out my container. It's usually about 3-ish handfuls when our session is done. this is a technique in positive reinforcement that I know is used, but I also use it because of my dog. So my dog has, he's a shepherd mix. He has some separation anxiety, and I taught him that when I kiss his little forehead and I leave, I'm coming back. So, it's one of those things that it's an end. There's an end to this. So I kind of had that thought as well with Henry, where I jackpot at the end of a session because it's over. That's it. So this is just us doing our little chores. You can see she is kind of like right in the middle of just things happening and everything like that. Like I've mentioned in my equipment videos, I do like that where she's available. Her little ears are going crazy, and she knows we're actually feeding too. Like she's well aware of that fact. So I don't remember what we're looking at. Probably her boobs, because at this point, I'm still not sure if she's pregnant. She doesn't look pregnant to me, but I don't know. I've never actually seen a pregnant horse. I've never touched a baby. So I don't know. We start kind of, daily to weekly boob checks, as this progresses. So I have a whole thing on my camera of just her boobs. Anyway, this was a really good session for me because it really helped me establish positive reinforcement as the way I do really want to go. Obviously, I thought about it a while, but again, I don't know what I'm doing a lot. So it was a lot of back and forth and fumbling. And I think this is really the turning point where I'm like, this is going to work. This is actually going to work because she is really into it. And if she's really into it, we'll do it. I think if she was really into pressure release, I think I would have continued that kind of mentality, and that's okay. It's just she really, really liked the positive reinforcement, and I obviously was really interested in pursuing it. But as you've seen up to this point, it's, not always been that way, and I don't necessarily know how to really start gentling with positive reinforcement. So that is why, again, I really recommend reaching out to professionals, watching professionals and trainers who know what they're doing if this is something you would like to pursue. I had to fumble a lot to get to this point, but it's okay. And obviously this is not perfect by any means at this point either. You can see how she easily gets overstimulated, I think, with just in my space. But that's something that I just shape later, and it's okay. You can see how aggressive she is with the pawing. She's obsessed with food and just all the time. But yeah, good time.